60 million a year. Net worth approaching 300 million. Custom tables at the Met Gala. Brands and luxury houses competing just to stand beside you. 20 drivers share the same Formula One grid, but only one turned a single seat into this level of money, attention, and power. Hamilton isn't paid to race, he's paid to exist. The question is, what made it all converge on one man while the other 19 get almost none? On the Formula One grid, the gap between Hamilton and the average driver starts with a number. Hamilton's annual salary sits between $60 and $70 million, 12 times what most of his rivals earn. The typical F1 contract hovers in the low single-digit millions. Even the solid performers, the ones with podiums and loyal sponsors, rarely see more than $15 million a year. Hamilton's paycheck is not just compensation for racing, it's payment for occupying the rarest seat in sports, a position that brands, teams, and even the sport itself are desperate to keep filled. The economics are blunt. Most drivers are paid to race. Hamilton is paid to exist. His wealth, now estimated at $300 million, comes from more than just Ferrari or Mercedes. It's layered with $15 million a year in endorsements, Tommy Hilfiger, Puma, Monster Energy, and business ventures that add another $10 million annually. Investments and equity stakes push his financial reach far beyond the paddock. For most on the grid, every contract is a lifeline. For Hamilton, money is the right to say no. He can walk away from weak terms, refuse short-sighted deals, and think in decades, not seasons. One mistake won't shatter his future, because his real asset isn't speed, it's the leverage to choose what happens next. Other drivers sell performance. Hamilton sells a position. That is why money, security, and freedom all converge around him, and why the rest of the grid is left chasing more than just lap times. Hamilton steps into a room and value arrives before he speaks. At the 2025 Met Gala, he didn't just walk the carpet, he bought his own table, surrounded himself with icons from music, film, and art, and wore a custom Grace Wales Bonner suit that landed in Vogue and the New York Times. In a crowd of cultural elites, Hamilton doesn't blend in, he redefines the guest list. This is public desirability on a level most athletes never touch. While most drivers fade into the background once the engines cool, Hamilton's presence sparks coverage from TMZ to Men's Health, and his outfits set trends that ripple from Paris to Tokyo. Fashion is not a hobby, it's a business arm. The Tommy Hilfiger partnership turned Hamilton into a walking billboard for American luxury, with his own capsule lines moving product from the pit lane to Fifth Avenue. Even after the Hilfiger era, the crossover continued. Lululemon filmed him for its Rest Day series, slotting him alongside global sports stars and pushing his brand into lifestyle territory where most F1 drivers can't follow. These aren't one-off campaigns, they're signals that Hamilton's desirability is assumed, not earned on a case-by-case basis. Contrast that with the average paddock peer, anonymous outside the circuit, invisible on red carpets, and rarely the subject of public fascination unless holding a trophy. For most, attention is conditional. For Hamilton, it's the default. Women notice before he speaks. Brands compete for a piece of his aura. In a sport where most drivers are paid to race, Hamilton is paid to be the main event, wherever he goes. Formula One careers are built on a razor's edge. 1 week season, a single sponsor's exit, or a dip in form can erase years of work. Pastor Maldonado proved this in 2012. One race win, a flash of glory, and then nothing that stuck. His name faded as quickly as it rose. The paddock is littered with drivers who had a moment, then lost everything: their seat, their relevance, their bargaining power. For most, visibility is a fleeting currency. It doesn't compound, it doesn't protect. Hamilton plays a different game. In 2022, he finished an entire season without a win. For the average driver, that's a career death sentence. Sponsors vanish, teams look elsewhere, and the story ends. Hamilton instead landed a record-breaking deal with Ferrari months later, worth up to $70 million a year. The result sheet didn't matter. His value is distributed across so many channels, audience, brand, cultural pull, that a bad year barely dents the surface. He is not exposed to the same collapse risk. His relevance survives team slumps, sponsor cycles, and even the sport's shifting tides. Where most drivers are one mistake away from the exit, Hamilton's position is built to last. His worth isn't tied to a single result, but to a network of value that protects him from the fragility that defines almost every other F1 career. Out of 8 billion people, only a few thousand ever race a car seriously. From that pool, just 20 claim a Formula One seat each year, an exclusive club where every member is already a statistical outlier. Even within this rarefied group, hierarchy rules. Most drivers will never win a Grand Prix. Fewer still lift a championship trophy. And then there is Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, owner of 103 race wins, and the only active driver whose name sits alongside legends like Schumacher. His record is not just a number, it is a multiplier. Every title, every podium, every headline pushes him further up the pyramid, where rewards compound with altitude. Max Verstappen has 3 titles and the sport's biggest paycheck, but his reach stops at the edge of racing. Charles Leclerc brings youth and style, but global fame remains elusive. Lando Norris is a digital personality, a favorite of the young and online, but legacy is still a rumor. For each, the rewards are impressive but conditional. Their value peaks with performance, then ebbs with the news cycle. Hamilton's position, by contrast, is structural. He is the final rung, status so high it bends the system around him. In Formula One, most drivers compete for recognition. Hamilton's status multiplies everything: money, security, freedom, and the gravitational pull that draws the world to his orbit. For most drivers, the finish line is a wall. They perform or they disappear. The contract runs out, the helmet goes on the shelf, and the search for a new identity begins, usually with a podcast, a guest analyst role, or a desperate brand partnership. The sport moves on, and so does the spotlight. Hamilton, though, has engineered something rare: optionality. His real luxury isn't just spending power, but the freedom to choose when to race, when to retire, when to pivot. Dawn Apollo Films, launched in 2022, is more than a vanity project. It's a fully funded production house, already producing a major Apple TV Plus documentary, and serving as the creative engine behind the Brad Pitt Formula One movie. When Hamilton steps into producer territory, he isn't playing at Hollywood. He's shaping how the world sees the sport and how the sport sees itself. This is a driver who can design a fashion line, bankroll a startup, or disappear into filmmaking without asking anyone's permission. The average retired champion hustles for relevance. Hamilton builds new arenas to dominate. His identity isn't trapped in the cockpit. He can step away or return on his own terms, and the world will still compete for his attention. In Formula One, most careers end with the last race. Hamilton's position means he never truly leaves the grid. He simply chooses which world to rule next. Hamilton's entire advantage is a compounding loop that most drivers never even glimpse. It starts with performance: 103 Grand Prix wins, 207 podiums, 389 race starts. That's not just a record, it's a factory for credibility. Credibility then turns into attention, not just from fans, but from brands, media, and anyone who wants to borrow a piece of his aura. That attention becomes commercial demand. Sponsors don't just want Hamilton on the car, they want him at the center of the campaign, the party, the conversation. The money follows: salary north of $60 million, millions more in endorsements, and business ventures that keep the cash flowing even when the helmet's off. But the loop doesn't stop at money. With wealth comes security. With security comes options. The power to walk away from bad deals, to launch a film studio, to build a commission that shapes the future of the sport. Each new choice feeds back into status. Status multiplies attention, and the cycle spins again, faster and higher. Hamilton's social reach, over 60 million followers, doesn't depend on a team logo. His image is recognizable even to people who've never watched a race. The Hamilton Commission keeps his relevance alive between weekends, proving he's more than a headline or a highlight reel. Most drivers follow the script: race, get paid, retire, fade. Hamilton rewrote the script so the rewards never stop compounding. His edge is not just speed, but the position he built, a position that generates its own gravity. Hamilton is the rare asset that every market wants to claim. Teams chase his signature, sponsors fight for his face, media outlets crave his story, fans line up for a glimpse, luxury brands angle for association, and even the world of celebrity courts his presence. Each reward, money, press, social demand spins off the next. This isn't just a feedback loop, it's a bidding war. Most drivers offer isolated performance, a fast lap, a brief headline, a fleeting contract. Hamilton is the intersection where money, attention, protection, rank, and choice all collide. He is not just a winner, he is the position everyone else is trying to buy. For most drivers, money is a contract. For Hamilton, it's a force field. Today, he's not just protected, he's pursued. In a sport obsessed with milliseconds, his true advantage is compounding status, the right to exist above risk. That's what everyone else is really chasing. Drop your thoughts below.